kia ora, you're nearly there, you're nearly at the end of your first paragraph. And it's now time to write your statement. So remember, these are the simple series, and if you're wanting a bit more of a challenge, head on over to the advanced series of tutorials. So we're up to step 10, statement. Here's the question if you need a reminder, and the essay itself, and the paragraph broken down, and here's our statement. Remember, I'll just go back to the paragraph, you could do this all without doing the analysis. So I'm just going to read that now, read the paragraph now, as though we haven't done the analysis. Just for those of you who, if you weren't feeling so confident and you didn't want to give it a go at this stage. When Jonas becomes the receiver of memories, it is important because we learn that he is different. Lowry writes, for the first time in his 12 years of life, Jonas felt separate, different, when he is selected to be the receiver. Lowry shows how Jonas has always felt like he was part of his community until this turning point. This turning point is important because it highlights that Jonas is different. So see how you can take out that analysis if you want to, and this paragraph still makes sense. It's not as interesting, it's not as sophisticated, but it does make sense and it does answer the question. So let's have a look at what I've got to say about writing your statement. You've got to do a couple of things. You've got to connect back to the question again. Prove that you didn't just memorize a practice essay. So I've actually used the words turning point, connects back to the question. And the words important, connects back to the question. Also, make sure you restate what your paragraph was all about. So if we head on back here to our topic sentence, when Jonas becomes the receiver of memories, it is important because we learn that he is different. Now look at the statement. This turning point is important because it highlights that Jonas is different. The only real difference between those two sentences is that I take out the actual phrase, becomes the receiver of memories, and I replace it with this turning point. So basically my statement is a rewording of my very clear, very straightforward topic sentence. And it comes back to that idea that I was talking about in the other tutorials, that when you are reading, it's really easy to forget what you read a couple of sentences ago. And if you were to leap straight from your explanation or straight from your analysis into your next paragraph, the reader would be like, whoa, what? Wait, what was I just reading about? I can't remember what the whole point of that paragraph was. You might think I'm exaggerating, but that is actually what happens. If you don't sum up your paragraph in a very clear statement, then your reader is just going to be confused and your paragraphs will kind of blend into each other. So it's kind of like having a full stop. Your topic sentence is like having a capital letter. It's like, hey reader, my paragraph is beginning and here is what it is about. Your statement is like having a full stop. It's like saying, hey, I finished my paragraph. This is what I talked about in my paragraph. Remember? So that your reader can think, oh yeah, okay, I understand that. Or they might think, oh wait, I didn't quite get that. I need to reread this paragraph. And when I read it, I'm going to be looking for the information about the turning point, about how it's important, and about how Jonas is different. So yes, a statement is a lot of repetition. You're not saying anything new, and it is kind of dull, but it is super, super important. If you don't put a statement, your reader will be lost. Or if they're not lost, if it's me, and I'm actually marking your essay, more likely I'll be questioning, hey, does this person who wrote this essay, do they really understand what they're talking about here? Have they got a good handle on what the question is? Are they very clear about what their paragraph was just about? Or have they just kind of taken a shot in the dark with the topic sentence and their example doesn't quite match up? So your statement is another way of proving that you know what you're doing, that you're feeling really confident. So best way to write a statement, have a look back at your topic sentence. If you did a good job on your topic sentence, you can basically take it and reword it. My way of rewording it was very straightforward and very dull. You could start there and then see if you can bring in some synonyms, some different phrases, different ways of saying it to make your writing more sophisticated if that's what you want to try and do. So it's time now to write your own statement. Remember, try not to look back at mine, try and do it independently if you can, and then rewatch bits of the tutorial if you need to, if you get really stuck. Once you've done that, it is time to write your next paragraph. Unless, of course, this is the third time you've watched this video and you are writing your third paragraph. But remember, don't move on to writing your conclusion until you have actually written all 3 paragraphs, and it would be a really, really good idea to check in with me before you write your conclusion if this is your first practice essay for the year, because often you might have made a little bit of a mistake, and that mistake will carry through to the conclusion unless you check it now. So it's much easier to check now before you start the conclusion, so then if there are little bits that are missing, or maybe a quote that you've not quite got right, or it doesn't quite work, we can fix that up before you put the final sort of bow on the presentation and finish off with your beautiful conclusion.